Oh, what's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm According to Woods, and he is former U of MMA champion Pius Inalalobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus. I fucking killed my light for your intro.
Yeah, you gotta destroy some shiznit every now and then. What's good, Mr.
Yes,
Woods?
it's good, man. Apparently, I am like one of those horses in those Mickey Mouse fucking things of the 1930s. You remember the damn collar never looked right? So that's what I look like. It's all
Yes.
weird. It's
Speaking
all
of
weird.
horses, speaking of horses, I was down at Hollywood Horsepower in what do you call this place? Uh,
What do you call any place? I don't know. It's a fucking thing. It's a wait and sell before we die. I don't know. What is the place? What is the place?
Fillmore, California.
Fillmore.
Hollywood Horsepower, Fillmore, California. Shout out to Hollywood Cowboy. He treated me pretty well out there, man. It was pretty fun out there. So if you're looking for some riding lessons, check out Hollywood Horsepower in Fillmore, California. Let's go.
Yeah, man. And Ronky says, long time, bro. To you, shout out to Ronky,
What's up?
Mademoiselle.
What's up?
Long distance dedication like that Ort LeBeau. Yeah. And LOL, Coach Rob saying, Coach Rob is going to approve this. Shout out to Coach
Yes.
Rob putting it down in Canada. But
All
yeah,
day.
man. UFC Vegas 40 happened last night, and we are going to talk about such a thing. Now, it's kind of weird because, yes, there was probably a more exciting uh, Bellator card happening about the same time. Also, AEW was doing a Saturday show, and then you had Combate Global on Friday. Which shout out to Diana Debo Mendoza because she won her fight, dominated her opponent, but also was rocking the According to Woods logo. That was the very first time I've ever sponsored a fighter, and
Yeah,
yeah, man, it was pretty cool.
that's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, from one fighter to multiple in short time. We'll see.
We will see. We will
Oh
see.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the logo will probably be on the Fearless Women MMA card. I believe it's
Nice.
happening at the end of the month as well, emanating from Mexico. So go ahead and check Fearless Women MMA out on all of their socials.
Nice.
Also, congratulations to former Fearless amateur champion Jaws Fuller.
Jaws.
She
I saw
yes
that.
she yeah she basically completed her amateur boxing career and just amateur combat sports because she will actually turn pro um, at the next Fearless events. That will be her pro debut. Shout out to Libby Canella and what have you, the whole Fearless team. But yes, before she hung it up for the amateurs and going pro. Well, guess what? She won a title in boxing, which is so badass. So shout out to Jaws and Bonita Martial Arts and all of the San Diego County, what have you. We had Subversive. So a lot of combat sports happening everywhere. Alex Ramirez says, "Hey, it's my two favorite peeps. You are our favorite peeps, Alex. Dropping knowledge and links
All
all up and
day.
down this. Appreciate you, brother." So yeah,
Yeah.
man, UFC Vegas 40, otherwise known as Lad versus Dumont,
Hmm.
and I when we get to the top, I got something to say on
Okay.
Miss Dumont's song choice, but I guess we start out with the Ariane Carnelossi
Hmm.
beating Estela Nunez. I know you were pretty high on Estela Nunez coming into the fight, 7-1.
Hmm.
The 14-1 of Ariane Carnelossi, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But Carnelossi, basically hits a rear naked choke late in, well, midway through the, I would say late, because it's about 3 minutes into the third round. Yeah, so There was only 2 minutes left on the round, or 2 minutes and 3 seconds, theoretically. But
Hmm.
yeah, what did you think about Carnelos's performance?
I used to train with a guy by the name of Majid Reyes, and one of his statements that he would say is, "I rather die than get tired. I rather die than get tired." He would say that all the time, and that's pretty much what happened to Estela Nunez. She was toe tagging Ariane
Yeah.
the entire time until she got put on the fence and pretty much exhausted.
Yep.
This is why she lost. She lost to. She didn't lose to the opponent. She lost to fatigue. Fatigue was the winner in this particular matchup, and Ariane just simply snuck a rear naked choke in there and finished it off. But Fatigue was the true victor in this particular matchup. It wasn't Ariane's skills per se. Yes, she took her down, and yes, she pressed her. But every time she took her down, she didn't do any damage. There was no damage done on the fence. There was no damage done on the ground. Estella just got tired, and that was that.
Yeah. Ooh, Alex got. Oh, actually, first off, Charles the Professor Wilton, also in Canada, saying, "Hey guys, what's up, the Professor? Glad to have you with us." And Alex Ramirez says, "Are you going to cover up the cover on the Aspen Lad coaching controversy going around regarding her corner, saying that they were too harsh and forced her to apologize, and was forced to address it online, essentially." Yeah, we're gonna get to that 100%. But my gripe is actually with Norma Dumont's song choice. But
Mhm.
again, we'll get to that. So yeah, man, and I know what you're saying about Nunez being fatigued, but d could it be? Because was talking earlier with Mariah Castro. She is an amateur fighter out of the New York, New Jersey area, and she was saying how like Darren Elkins, right? Darren Elkins pretty much has it in his mind that you're gonna tire yourself out beating his ass, and then
Mhm.
when you get tired, he is going to fucking put that pace, that hurting on you, and like a
Mhm.
damn Jackie Chan drunken fucking master, he will
Mhm.
fuck you up. Like I've seen it. I was there at fucking UFC 209. I've seen it in
Mhm.
person. Darren Elkins is a bad motherfucker, right?
He
So,
is.
I
He
mean,
definitely is.
could could you not say the same about
Ariane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and why not? Why so or why not?
Yeah. So, the thing is in America, people have become accustomed to instant gratification. These type fighters are instant gratification type fighter to me. Yeah, they take a huge beating, but then they win, right? See, they only winning right now. Give them 10 years, you'll see the results of the ass whooping that they've received along the way. Even though they won, they really lost. They just don't know it yet.
No, I agree 100%. And especially, and we're kind of jumping around a bit, but like, the instance of Lupita Godinez, right? Lupi Godinez stepping on like she fought last Saturday, won, and comes back again, right? And they were kind of, like who did the fucking quick turnarounds, right? And you're like, oh, fucking Hamzat, COVID took him out, right?
Hmm.
In terms of his career, right?
Hmm.
Then you had Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy Cerrone at 50. I mean, we're kind of seeing it in kind of ways with Chuck Liddell,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Chuck Liddell fought that style, and accomplished striker as he
Yeah.
was, but
He sounds
he's
like a boxer now. He
yeah,
sounds just like a boxer that's been in many, many wars.
yeah.
Slurred speech, type talking. It's not worth it.
That's it, man. And again, I would say it over and over again. That's why I interview. That's why I podcast, because I want these guys and girls that compete in combat sports. When that red light is on, whether they get asked to the UFC, Bellator, Combate, WWE, UFC, like AEW, whatever the fuck, right? To have look, it's fucking AEW. We just had Junior Dos Santos, fucking make his MMA. I mean, his pro wrestling debut, right?
Yep.
Friday will be Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Barnett is on it. but also is Minoru Suzuki. Again, two guys of MMA. You can't tell me Josh Barnett and Minoru Suzuki aren't fucking MMA, aren't fucking catch wrestling. Because I will shoot you. I mean, no shoot. I don't want shoot to come out of my mouth. Good God. Urgh. But
FBI.
yeah, no, I'm not going to. But the hammer of the grappling gods will hit you in the noggin and set you straight. I hope, because again, that it is what it is. So whatever opportunities lay away from the cage, look at none other than fucking Cub Swanson, who says he wants media people, right? Media people to have at least 3 fights. His wife is Kenda Perez, who hosts all the fucking Best of Pride, deals, and half of the, and she's talented. She's absolutely talented. But half of the fucking Swanson household income comes from Kenda, who's not a fighter, but makes her money from the UFC just like her husband Cub, right? So, but what happens with Cub? Cub is starting to doing announcing, right? He's in at LFA. He's so Cub. Let's see how that works out for you, bud.
Get your money, homie. Get your money.
I'm just saying, but don't hate on anyone else trying to get that fucking money, right? Because again, you play that fucking roulette wheel of like, you can't whatever. I was like, okay, well the UFC goes, I just want, other than Megan O'Leary, Laura Sanko, John Anik, Brendan Fitzgerald, and a couple other notables, right? Everyone else is a fucking champion. So like, you, Belal Muhammad, whoever else, right? You can't do commentary anymore. We want Bisping, we want Cormier, we want whatever. They're not going to get rid of Rogan, unless Rogan wants to, kibosh the UFC aspect of his career. So it's an on point. So just stop talking madness, do whatever the fuck, but just know that fighting, again, Cerrone hasn't looked good. How many guys and girls even, I'm kind of, Miesha Tate looked good in her last outing against what's her face?
A 44-year-old.
Yes. Oh God, Marion Renault, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marion Renault. Hell, you could fucking, you and Shaman Steve could run up the hill. So don't be just like 44-year-old. Fucking Vince McMahon is damn near 80. That motherfucker can bench press way the fuck more than me. He can bench press me, throw me out or whatever, and involuntarily make me join the Kiss My Ass Club. So with that all being said, like age is nothing but a number. Fucking Cher, if she wanted to come back at 80 fucking years old, she would have a better body, right? She would have a better body and better hits than any of these motherfucking tattoo face SoundCloud rappers and whatever the fuck. So don't come. Kiss is still on fucking their 25-year-old fucking reunion tour.
Yeah.
Phil Collins at 70 on a fucking chair, can't dance, can't walk around the stage and everything because his back is fucked, is still more charismatic than half of these motherfuckers. More than half. 75%. Fucking Rolling Stones is tonight. They just sold out SoFi in Inglewood. Mm-hmm. You tell me about fucking ages. Mm-hmm. I don't buy that shit. Mm-mm. Don't buy age for nothing. Yeah, man. So next, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
No, I was gonna say we got the first knockout of the night with Dana. Yeah. Apparently it was like they started calling him like, I guess the pronunciation of it, because he's Mongolian, but the pronunciation of his name was like almost Italian. It was like they're calling him Donna Batrigelli or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck is this? That's a weird pronunciation. But I mean, much like we kind of figured, Brandon Davis, with his impressive 14-9 record going into this thing, fell to 14-8 record going into this thing. He fell to 14-9 because Donna didn't want to fucking get out the first round. He's like, fuck this shit. We're gonna fucking we're gonna handle it.
Yeah.
Mongolia versus U.S. and what have you. And of course, Donna. It was kind of crazy to see Donna. Jesus Christ, Pugsley, my fucking dog. I wish I had something to throw at him. Anywho, Peter's gonna love this podcast. No,
Yeah.
but it's crazy because this was also the first time that we saw one Mike Winklejohn of Jackson Wink, who had just earlier in the week cut ties with John Jones.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. When I took a quick close look at this Brandon Davis fella, it seemed to me that the bright lights got to him. The bright lights sitting in front of Dana, the real Dana,
Yeah.
fighting in front of him. He was slightly. It seemed like he was a second behind the entire time. He was there, but he wasn't, which is why he didn't see that overhand coming. Because the guy kept throwing it. He wasn't like
Yes.
putting. He wasn't like putting together like a wonderful combination of some sort.
No.
He was just throwing bombs, and one of them landed, and that was that.
Yeah. Yeah, and but it put him out. It fucking
Alcohol.
yeah, out cold, dead dick in the dirt. Now Charles says, "Hey, more people for us in wheelchair boxing. All of this old ass boxers try to come back. Really, really soon. They will try to get into my sport. Yeah, hey, right next to the fucking your guys' wheelchair boxing, there's gonna be geriatric boxing. Hell, we just had one of fuck anything Triller's putting on. Shit, like the Bellator after Bjorn Rebney's, tournaments and him stealing and shit like that and whatever, and pretty much getting 86 from the sport until he ends up trying to create a fucking union for fighters. Yeah. But with that all being said, don't knock it until it's coming. I mean, Dana White said no girls in the UFC. There's 4 divisions. Hell, this fucking fight was headlined by a non-title women's fucking 5-round fight, right?
Yep.
So I'm just saying, in the words of the great philosopher Justin Bieber, never say never. He's neighbors with Voodoo. Voodoo lives in Hidden Hills, Calabasas area. Sorry to put your shit out there like that.
I wish.
That's it. That's the kingdom of voodoo. Yes, absolutely. Uh, but with that all being said, yep, that was Donna. I like calling him Donna. And the way that you said, like, oh, the real Dana, right? It made me think of actually fucking Amanda Nunes, right? She's like, you know, Donna. It's in reference to Dana White, so I love that. And also, Donna is the recipient of the very first performance of the night. He gets a $50,000 bonus, and that is tax free because it's Vegas, right? So
That's right.
tax free 50 G's for what? 1 minute or no, 2 minutes of work. Fuck yes. Now, of course, like I'm not trying to demean it because he's at Jackson Winklejohn, right? Jackson Wink, that's one of the preeminent fucking gyms of MMA in the world, right? So he's putting in the work. I'm not, but like that motherfucker is not paid by the hour. And I really was like, holy shit, man. Donna could be the first fucking Mongolian fucking UFC champion.
Could be.
Holy,
Could be.
there's stuff in him he's special, man. Like he's very special. I would say like a Mongolian, obviously different, right? But the rise of oh God, what's his name? Hamzat, right? The rise of Hamzat, right? Just a fucking world beater in 3 fights. Don is getting there, So I just, I want to keep it together. I don't want to say too much because you say it and then it doesn't happen and everybody's like, I thought you said that motherfucker, and I'll get the memes of him getting knocked out, while I'm crying in the corner because my fucking shooting star got pressed. Do you see what I did there? Shooting star press, the shooting
Oh,
star got press.
speaking of shooting stars getting pressed, unfortunately, Lupita Godinez goes to 6-2 in this 125-pound division against Luann Carolina. The strategy that she used, I thought, was spectacular. Take it to the ground and finish the fight on the ground because we've seen Luana Carolina go out to less experienced fighters on the ground. But
Yes.
the one component that was needed for Lupita to secure the takedown and change the dynamics of the fight and bringing it to the ground was missing. She had no wrestling. I could not understand what it was she was trying to do to get this fight to the ground. It didn't make any sense. Everything she did seemed incomplete, and she lost for this reason. She lost because she couldn't take the fight to the ground. I mean, it boggles my mind. How do these people make it to the UFC and lack that one component?
Well, okay, so I mean, I've obviously Lupi is has been on the According to Woods podcast. Fabulous, fabulous person. Um, she comes from like I think she's the oldest of three wrestling sisters, right? And as much as she, remember her LFA title fight against Little Monster Demopoulos, right? Vanessa
Mm-hmm.
Little Monster Demopoulos. She couldn't hear her coaches. Vanessa was trying to jujitsu her and whatever the fuck, and was like, and Lupe was just like, "What, coach? Oh, okay," and lifts fucking Demopoulos up and fucking walks her across the LFA octagon, and was like,
Mm-hmm.
"What'd you say, coach? Slammer, slammer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fucking slammer,
Mm-hmm.
right?" So she is a talented wrestler.
Yeah.
I don't. So obviously, she she was the former LFA strawweight champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a strawweight. I think she went up to fly for this fight, right? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
125.
I don't
So
think it should matter. I don't think it should matter. I mean, coming from a wrestling family, like you say, the wrestling pedigree that you described, Luana sucks. I mean,
yeah,
didn't you see when she was on the ground? She didn't know what the hell she was
what the
doing.
fuck did you? No,
She had no idea. You mean to tell me you couldn't put together a single leg situation and get this person to the ground? I don't know, man. I don't know.
well,
Something was missing, and it
so I
wasn't.
mean, theoretically speaking, because Lupita, it wasn't the original opponent, and it was none other than uh, Marina Moroz, the Iron Lady, right?
Right.
Coming in with a 10-3 record. But I'm
Hmm.
looking at Moroz's record, and it's a lot of. I mean, she won. She beat Joanne Calderwood back in 2015 with an armbar. But since 2015, shit, man, like she hasn't had one a finish, and then two of what is it? Um,
Submission.
Submission. There you go. I don't know why I blanked on that, but yeah, everything. She's either lost or won decisions, right? Since 2015, right? That's Morose. So that is originally what Luana. I mean, yeah, Luana Carolina's uh, original opponent. So maybe Luana was preparing for an adequate wrestler herself. That anything that Lupita brought, and especially Lupita only has so much time to game plan with her coaches. I'm not trying to like defend it, but that could be some issues. I don't know. I don't know what the like again. As a guy who's never fought, I'm not the former U of MMA champion. That's not what you come to see me for. That's more voodoo. So with that all
Hey,
being said,
what I'm saying is, look, man, I never officially took a wrestling class, but I
right?
understand leverage. I understand leverage. Yeah, the girl's taller than you. When you have the single leg, why is the leg under your arm when she's clearly taller than
Yeah,
you? Why
yeah,
don't you pass it above and push that mug up and create that that tip that you're trying
yeah,
to get? I just didn't understand what was going on. It didn't make
yeah.
sense to me.
No, you're right. I saw the same things, and I was just like, it almost reminded me a bit of who is it that was facing Sugar Sean O'Malley, and his leg is clearly fucked up, and the dude wants to go for a
Oh
takedown?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
That's a feeling I have. I have that
right,
same kind of feeling. Yeah,
right.
I have that same
Yes.
kind of feeling.
So I don't know, but this is a very important lesson I think for Lupi, where like I mean to get if this is well first off we're not taking anything away from Luana. Luana obviously, defended the takedown defenses or whatever the hell she did to thwart Lupi.
Hmm.
So I think Lupi and her team has, I mean, basically kind of found out that the wrestling pedigree that they thought they had going into this to get to that upper echelon of where the UFC needs you to be to put you in the top five, top 10, or whatever, it needs to be higher than what yours is. If you're the highest pedigreed wrestling person in your your training room, then maybe you need to go somewhere else
Hmm.
because you won't
Most
get any
definitely.
higher. Right? Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, and I know that
Eh,
Loopy has went from Canada to Denver to go to Elevation
elevation.
fight team. Yeah, she's trained with them and what have you. So I know she's done that, but I mean, that was just like that was a very very like short time. She was there a couple of weeks and whatever. So I don't know how much she could have gotten or what have you.
Hmm.
Frankly, I don't even know how she kind of got back here because best I know, Canada's pretty much closed to the U.S. border. So I don't.
Hmm.
It's the south of everything. Like most
Hmm.
people, Mexico are like, whatever, and then the Mexican people are like, the Central Americans, and then the Central Americans are like it's the south of everywhere. We just think
Hmm.
like Alaskans think Canadians are the shits, right? Not the shit, the shits. So it's a weird one. But again, I think this is a very important lesson for Lupita and her team going forward. Uh, Hopefully they regain some of the luster. When I saw Loopy's face kind of get busted up, I was like, oh, like this is not going the way that they planned.
Hey, if she had 10 more seconds, she could have won that match when she had that armbar.
Yes, she did.
If she
Yeah,
had 5 more seconds, not
five.
10, five,
Yeah, five. No, 100%.
could have finished it. But
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
it was definitely weird. It was definitely bizarre. So I agree with you 100%. So again, but let's not take anything away from Luana Carolina because like she
Yeah.
did enough. But again, you might need more jujitsu or catch wrestling or whatever the fuck if you want to get to that top echelon, right? So
Hmm.
I think this is a very important learning lesson for everyone. And
Indeed.
Charles the Professor Wilson dropping knowledge on us. November 8th, Canada opens back up again. He hopes. We all hope.
Mm.
Because
I
we
hope so
miss you.
too.
We miss our neighbors to the north. We want you guys
Yeah.
back. Hopefully we don't fucking spread COVID to you guys because we're fucking weird here in the States. But
Ain't no getting
anyway,
around COVID, man. Ain't no
yeah,
getting
man.
around it. It's
Shit,
made its round already.
yeah, it fucking sucks, man. That
Hmm.
holy shit, man. This one for me was the upset of the night. And nothing against Danny Roberts, but he improves his record to 18-5, does hot chocolate uh, against Ramazan Imaev. And we
Hmm.
thought that, again, Imaev's head looks like one of the damn Easter Islands totem pole, whatever. Like I thought that he was gonna be the one, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And nope, Danny Roberts. It was a split decision, but it was
Yes.
pretty clear that fucking like speaking of toe tag, I don't know how both gentlemen's fucking heads are still attached to their necks the day after.
Roberts. You didn't see the cut on Roberts' head?
Yes,
That
it
was
was
ridiculous.
huge.
Wow.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah. It branched off into different
Ah,
directions.
no. It was like veins or like subway fucking maps or some shit. It got weird. It definitely got weird. But I mean, that Ramzan's fucking head was just a target for all the fucking firepower that that Brit, the hot chocolate Roberts, was fucking putting on him, man. That
Yeah.
steam, whoo, shit, man. It was just like boo,
They,
boo, boo.
they sure were slinging leather. And what I think got Danny Roberts the win was towards the end of every single round, he increased his output and he
Yep,
looked busy. He didn't
yep,
really land. He didn't really land 90% of what he threw, but he looked busier than his opponent.
yeah,
And his opponent
bro.
had this calm nature about him that could have rubbed the judges wrong, right?
Yeah,
It seemed like he wasn't really trying, but he was just a calm individual. But Danny Roberts was slinging them, throwing them, even though he was missing most of them. He
yeah,
looked busy. He looked active. He looked like he was pressing the match, so they gave it to him.
yeah, yeah. No, they did. They absolutely did. Um, yeah, man. So big to me, it's a big win for Danny Roberts because Ramazan is one of the to me he's one of the stars kind of along with Chimaev and
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple people that um, basically in this kind of season of the UFC or just MMA in general coming into the UFC, we're really on the upward trajectory. So that's why I say like this could have been a regional like this could have been a lights out extreme fighting fight. This could have been a
Mm-hmm.
King of the Cage fight. This could have been a Titan FC fight, right? You could
Mm-hmm.
have headlined with these two.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much I think of Ramazan and I think that much more of Danny because of it. And like you said, he
And
was
and and Danny's coming from a 2-year shoulder injury layoff.
right. I know.
So shout out
That's
to Danny.
yeah, yeah. So I hope they. I mean, obviously he's not the recipient of any performances bonus, but like,
Mm-hmm.
please give that dude something. He earned this
Both
one.
of them. Give it to
Both of
both of
them.
them. They look
Yeah,
good.
they look really good, And again, this is one where, we went from the Carolina Lupita deal, right, to like this one where like give them some more seasoning, right? And at 170, they're giving people problems. And 170 right now is oh fuck, there's so many stacked divisions, not just in the UFC, but just everywhere in general. So
Mm-hmm.
man, but these two could be headlining cards, pay per views in about 2 years time.
Hey, speaking of headlining cards and performances that 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 rivals that type of ability, Bruno Silva came in here against Andrew Sanchez and did what he had to do. He went in there and he toe tagged. Sanchez was a little reserved. More, it seemed more like he was trying to make sure he had enough cardio to last all 15 minutes. That's what it seemed like to me. But
Yeah.
Silva was like, homie, I'm about to dump on you like you've never been dumped on before. And
Yep.
before you knew it, he landed the right shot, dropped him, and then finished with punches to snatch the TKO victory. It was an awesome matchup.
Yeah. And wasn't it Herb that was the
He
I
jumped
can't
in there
remember.
real
Yeah,
quick.
real quick. That was a very good stoppage,
Mm-hmm.
because yes, Andrew Sanchez is now 12-7, right? But you got to remember they don't count the fucking 3 fights that he fought in the Ultimate Fighter. They don't count his amateur career, which he
Mm-hmm.
had. Shit, how many fucking fights did he have as amateur? He had 3 fights as amateur, and then he had one, two. Shit, what is Ultimate Fighter finale? Let's see, one, two, three, four. Yeah, Phil. He beat Phil Hawes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Myron Dennis, Eric Spicely, and Khalil Roundtree. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's a former winner.
Good
Yeah,
wins too.
right,
Very good
but those
wins.
don't count because they were exhibition fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Ultimate Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So those don't count. But he has 7 fights that aren't accounted for. That's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fucking fights, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fucking damage that he took in this one, with Silva. So I just like it. The perfect stoppage for Herb Dean. This is why I trust Herb Dean. I trust Herb Dean's kind of judgment. Him and Big John, in terms of training guys and girls to be refs. Um, Dan Mergliotta has a school out in the eastern seaboard of the United States. Like, go see these guys. They've done it. They've done it, and they know what the fuck is up, man. So, just big win for fucking Bruno Silva because Andrew Santos is tough. He's durable. One of the most experienced guys in that 185-pound division. That's
Mm-hmm,
never won a
mm-hmm,
title. So that's a big
mm-hmm,
win for fucking Silva, who already had a 25, 21-5 record going into this,
mm-hmm.
advancing to, I'm just sorry, 20-6 record. He goes to 21-6. So that's really
That's right.
impressive as well. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. But fucking holy shit, Nate Landwehr, the fucking train, man. Woo! Man, this one with Ludovic Klein
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
was a fucking banger, man. Like, they were beating the shit out of each other. There's no better way to say it. Of course, you talk to Teddy Atlas, even to Voodoo Maximus. They're going to break this down to the fucking technical and the nuances and everything. I'm not that guy. They beat the fuck out of each other. This could have been a UFC fight, but this also could have taken place at my local gentrified bar after one too
Yep.
many acid drops.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep, yep. That's exactly what it was. Nate Landwehr, respect to the guy, Night Train or Nate the Train. Respect to the dude, but he's like the what's the fellow we talked about earlier that takes a lot of shots.
Oh, fucking Damage Elkins. Darren Damage
Yeah,
Elkins,
yeah.
yeah.
He's on that same train, man. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that he's willing to do that to himself for a victory. But this is not true victory. I mean, when you look at damage, Klein did more damage in this matchup.
Yeah.
He landed more significant shots that rattles the brain. But Nate outlasted him in this competition, right? Nate won this competition, but really Klein won the battle because
Yeah.
Klein's damage will surface in 10 years.
Uh-huh. No, 100%. And when you look at Nate Landwehr's record, he makes his debut. He doesn't do any amateur, but makes his debut at XFC 18 Music City Mayhem back in 2012.
Yeah.
He's been doing this since 2012.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
that's that's something to me, and that's a lot of fucking. You know, you remember the fucking, Herbert Burns fight
Yeah.
where he gets kneed
Yeah.
in the clinch and
Yeah.
goes down.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
he fought Darren Elkins. And he beat Darren
Yeah.
Elkins. Crazy
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. That was a good match. It was a good
Yeah,
match. Two
and
assassins.
yeah, two assassins, man. That uh, fucking 45 isn't gonna be kind to both gentlemen. But I digress. A cool win for Landwehr. We'll see what happens, but I
Mhm.
mean, I don't think
And
I don't the 145-pound division and its champion. They're not going
and by
anywhere
the way,
soon.
this is another case of I got tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Fatigue
yeah,
was the winner here because
yeah.
Klein was landing shots whenever he wanted. I mean, yeah, Nate landed his too,
Right.
but the more damaging shots were from Klein, and he got tired. Fighting backwards, man, it's an art. It's an art that people need to invest a lot of time in. And
Yes.
wherever your gym is, just shadow box moving backwards.
Yeah.
If your gym is a circle, shadow box moving in that circle. If it's a square, shadow box moving in that square. If it's a rectangle, shadow box moving backwards in that
Yeah.
rectangle.
Hundred
Do it
percent.
for 5 minutes, 5 minute rounds. Just keep moving, and before you know it, you'll build the stamina necessary to move fighting backwards. I mean, at this level, man, you gotta be well rounded, and
Yeah.
something so basic should not be the reason why these people are losing.
Yeah. No. 100%. And look at the Diaz brothers, right? You look at the Connor, right? These are guys, and I mean, didn't Thug Rose has done some shit fighting backwards, As did God, what's her name? Shit, Polish. Jonjinchek.
Joanna
You,
Jędrzejczyk.
yeah, yeah. They all fought backwards.
They get
Hell,
it.
yeah. Even this is, we talk about 145, right? Again,
Hmm.
he is Alexander for the fucking great Volkanovski. Like after that fucking slaughter of Ortega. Love Ortega, but that was, and again for me, I'd never seen anything in Volkanovski, right? And that him on Rogan was one of the most boring episodes of Rogan. I hate couldn't stand him with him and his coach Joe Lopez. They were like doing jokes to each other that nobody got but each other, but we're all supposed to laugh. It was just not good. But something changed. I think just like Ali had Frazier, Frazier had Ali, and all of the,
Hmm.
like you have to have a dancing partner, right? Bret Hart,
Hmm.
Shawn Michaels, like you got to
Hmm.
have a fucking dancing partner, and I believe that Ortega, through the Ultimate Fighter and all the antics that were there,
Hmm.
and then the fight brought
Hmm.
out something in Volkanovski. I didn't know Volk was married until and had two daughters until this fucking countdown.
Hmm.
So to me, he became a star because like Dana and whoever cast him to be on the Ultimate Fighter and knowing what his inefficiencies were, it was a perfect fucking choice because to now I think Volkanovski has kind of shaken off the the two Holloway fights. Holloway should have won both of them. He's shaken that
Hmm.
off, all right, and that's why I say
Hmm.
like Landwehr, you got Volk. Look at what Volk did to fucking Ortega. It's not good. So like you're gonna get wins and everything like that. And I mean, assuming you don't get released for anything, and I don't wish it on him, but
Hmm.
like maybe you fight for a regional title and you win the title and hang it up. But like you've
Hmm.
been in there. I mean, you're almost 10 years in.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
Fuck.
and to wrap up Volkanovski, I will give it up. He has been trying to improve his mic skills, his
Yeah.
presence on camera, in front of the camera. He's doing more, but it just
Yeah.
sucks. That's all. It sucks.
Ah,
But he is
this
trying.
this time around, I didn't feel that. Usman, right? And again, that's somebody that I'm never going to pick against, just like Volkanovski, right? I'm not picking against those dudes, but also just like Volk, Usman's fucking he almost like looked like he was trying to cosplay one of those mumble rappers or some shit. It was weird, and with the yo-yo-yos and everything like that, and everything that who was calling him Marty Usman?
Hmm.
Who?
Um,
Oh, fucking Colby. All that
Kobe
shit.
and the guy with the curly hair that got knocked out by
Oh,
Flying Meat.
Askren.
Aspirin too.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but all that shit was true.
Hmm.
I looked it up on YouTube. Marty Usman.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, it's just like fucking Apollo Crews in the damn WWE. Oh,
Yeah.
you're African? Fuck yeah, Wakanda forever, and give you're the fucking prince and shit. Like, yeah, I'm just. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, good one for Silva. I'm sorry. Good win for Landwehr, Anaconda choke, and what have
Hmm.
you. But
Hmm.
shit, me, dude. Manon Fior, Ofide, right? I
Hmm.
forgot the pronunciation, but holy shit, man. She fucking took Myra Bueno Silva to school. Uh, there's a couple things. So Myra Bueno Silva, on the tail of the tape, they didn't have a good angle for her picture. Because you know who she looked like to me?
Who?
Please, Sly Stone from Sly and the Family Stone. I was like, she looked like fucking Sly Stone. And I was just like, oh, that's not good, right? And then, they did the picture of her in the octagon, and I was like, that didn't look like Sly. That doesn't look like Sly Stone. But whoever fucking did the fucking tail of the tape picture, you made Mario Bruno Silva into looking like fucking Sly and the Family Stone. I wanted some funk.
Mm.
I wanted some funk.
Yeah.
But guess what? The funk
Hey.
was brought by the French woman, because it
Yes.
wasn't the one that Combate brought to fight the trans woman, not the 0-1, from 7 years ago. No, no, no. Man on. Shit, man. She's got. I want her to challenge for the fucking title, man. Like
She's
her,
not ready. She's not ready for the
not
title.
ready yet, but like,
She's got potential.
assuming, yes, yeah, you know, I mean, we were saying that about Bobby Green. Like, I want Bobby Green, to do a fucking Joe Soto, to be lower in the card somewhere, like not even
Hmm.
into the fucking pay per view prelims, just the regular fucking prelims, and then
Hmm.
somebody get hurt, and then you get called up. That's what I want for Manon, and that's what I want for fucking Bobby Reed, But
Yeah. When
yes,
when when
Manon.
when, when
Oh, good.
yeah. When I look at this Manon lady, what I see is an individual that follows the game plan to a T. She follows the game plan to a T. She listens to the coach. She's great in that aspect. But
Yes.
when you're in there, man, you got to be creative. You got to fall into the flow of things. You got to attempt to reach free flow. And right now she's still very robotic. She's still very robotic. She's still stuck in I need to do what my coaches say. You do what your coaches say, but at the same time, be flexible with your movement. I mean, in that first round, she must have thrown 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like 100 times.
Yeah.
Like, are you? I mean, yes, it's open and all that, whatever. I mean, show me something else. Can I see something else? Can I see a 1, 1, 2, 3 maybe?
Yeah. Right.
Can I
Exactly.
see a high low 2, 3 or so? Can I see something different? And someone like this is very easy to game plan for. Even though she follows a game plan to a T,
Right.
when she's fighting someone, it's also very easy to game plan for her because just study her the first round, and then you'll know everything that they practice for you, and then you can use that against them.
Yep.
Um, she is just 8-1 in MMA, so I guess I understand why she's
Right.
following to a T like that.
Right.
But I'm looking for diversity in her striking. If you throw her to the champion right now, she will be
Right.
murked in less than a round.
Oh yeah.
In
hundred
less than a
percent.
round, she'll be murked. But she does have potential.
Yeah. Well, you essentially what you want out of her is the creativity of a jazz musician, right? You stick a
Yeah,
jazz
yeah, you
musician there.
feel me. You
Yeah.
feel me.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
get in
Every
there,
now and
feel it
then you
out.
gotta be able to hit a solo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Break
Yeah.
out on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing together as an
Group or
orchestra or whatever you want to
quartet.
call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but every now and then, man, here's me, man. Separate yourself from the coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let the people know that even though you follow the coach's direction, you can do your own thing as well. You can flow. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying. You already get me,
Yeah.
so it's all good.
No, 100%. Well, I mean, that reference in jazz would make this guy proud. Because I am a son of a jazz musician. So, yeah, of
Mhm.
course I fucking get it. Of course I fucking get it, man. But, yeah, that's it. But cool one for Manon. The fucking production team. That's fucked up that you made fucking Mario Bueno Silva look like Sly Stone. Dance to the music. But yeah, there you go. This one made me sad. Because Jim Miller KO's our good friend, the good brother, Eric the Ghost Pepper Gonzalez. I mean, fucking talk about toe tags and shit like that. Eric Gonzalez, that first round was all Eric. But that fucking veteran savvy. To me, swear to God, Jim Miller is the UFC's Arn Anderson. You get me?
I agree. I agree.
He's like, you can get him to fucking cut that promo. You can get him to fucking, you put him in a title match with Hogan, and nobody would, be the wiser or whatever the fuck, like, because he can do it, and then he can work tags and six mans or whatever the fuck. That's the reason why he's in AEW killing shit.
Hmm.
His son talk about prospects. Is one to watch, and Brock Anderson. So with that all being said, like Jim Miller is the reliable one. Then they were like any hot prospects or whatever. Jim Miller has resigned himself for that role of the fucking gatekeeper. He is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely fucking gatekeeper. Can't
Mm-hmm.
anyone tell me different?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this. So also the performance of the night, Nate Landwehr got one, Bruno Silva got one, right? But also the last one goes to Jim Miller for his KO of Eric Silva. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Eric Gonzalez. Why? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
because I read the two names dyslexic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but Eric Gonzalez
Mm-hmm.
gets trounced by Jim Miller, unfortunately, and
Mm-hmm.
that is the last $50,000 performance bonus. And
Mm-hmm.
again, like I said, shout out to Jim Miller,
Mm-hmm.
but it did, that's the homie getting KO'd, and that's never fun. So
Hey,
just
but
shout out to
but
the both of them.
yeah, watching this match, there's two things that I learned. One, let's talk about Jim Miller. Jim Miller is uh an encyclopedia of mixed martial arts. When it comes to what you need to do as a mixed martial artist, study Jim Miller. The man, look, he's been in the game for so long. He sees through the the
A
the
facade.
smoking screen, and he
Yeah.
sees through all that. He's not chasing no belt. He's chasing
No.
his money. He's
Yep.
chasing his money. And how does he get money? Okay, is his contract lucrative? I should say. Maybe not. Maybe not. But he gets his money in bonuses. He
Yeah.
gets his money in win bonus, right? Win bonus and performance bonus. That's where he makes his money at.
Yeah.
The man understands, like kind of like how Sugar Sean O'Malley says, based on his contract, if I fight someone in the top 10 or someone in the bottom 100, they're gonna pay me the same thing. So why
Yeah.
fight a tough fight when I can fight an easy fight? Jim Miller is
Yeah.
doing exactly that. Jim Miller is doing exactly that. He's making that money. He's going in there against guys coming in, guys that are nervous. You know what I mean? Guys that
Yeah.
are shaken up by the big stage. He's taking advantage of all these dudes, man. Every now and then, a Vince Patel will snatch his soul, or whoever will snatch him. But for the most part, he's beating all the good guys, all the new up and coming guys. He's beating all of them. He's beating all of them and taking close to no damage and making that money. The man has made a career out of fighting. You don't make a career out of fighting.
Right.
Fighting is an opportunity, like Dana White said, but this guy says, no, 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 no. This is actually my career because he's been in the UFC for over 15 years and he's still there.
Swear to God, man. Jim Miller's first fucking fight is way back in 2005. Just to put it into context. Was even fucking Sage Northcutt fucking alive?
Was he even
Is it
born yet?
right? Like, Jesus Christ, man. And then, but you look at it, right? The
Mm-hmm.
155, the lightweight division, is just the top 15. You got
Mm-hmm.
Thiago Moises, right? Rafael Fiziev, Armin
Mm-hmm.
Sarukian, Brad Riddell,
Mm-hmm.
Diego Fierro,
Mm-hmm.
Gregor Gillespie. Connor is still on the 155 rankings at
Mm-hmm.
number 9. RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, Tony Ferguson, Dan
Mm-hmm.
Hooker, Islam
Mm-hmm.
Makhachev, Michael Chandler, Benil Dariush, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and you got the champ in Oliveira, right? So there's no way. Maybe Jim Miller gets the top 10,
Mm-hmm.
right?
He can compete with those guys, but he's
He
gonna
can
take so
so
much
much damage that
damage.
it's
Why?
not.
Why take
Yeah.
damage at this age? Why take damage? Why not make money, make good money, beating these young fellas, and call it a day. Make good money and call it a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now we have Mr. Ghost Pepper. Ghost Pepper had the skills to actually beat Jim Miller.
Yeah.
That first round taught him that. And that first round, he was like, oh man, this is in the bag. And he made one crucial mistake. He got way too comfortable around that UFC veteran. A
Yep.
man of 50 plus fight. He got too
Yeah.
comfortable
Uh
around
huh.
a man of 50 plus fight. This man's been fighting the UFC since you were like 5, 6 years old.
Yep.
He's been fighting the UFC since you were like 5, 6 years old, and you drop your hands around him. Of course, he's
Yeah.
gonna take advantage of that. You know, Eric Gonzalez, he seeks free flow, which I appreciate. The way
Yeah.
he fights, I love. But when you're throwing kicks and one leg is up and you're balancing on one leg, this is
Yeah.
one of the most vulnerable times for a fighter, if not the most vulnerable time, because there is no balance.
Yeah.
I mean, you stand on one leg, there's not much balance there, and you can't
No.
run away. And
Right.
when they try to attack you, you cannot run until that other leg comes down. You cannot escape. And knowing this, why drop your hands? You know, the
Yeah.
hands and the legs are are not one unit. You don't have to drop your hands when you throw a kick. That's amateur. That's amateur. You know what I mean? The real good fighters, the real professional fighters. Not that he's not a professional, but the top tier fighters do not drop their hands when they
Yeah.
kick. They throw their hand out as they kick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to maintain that in case the opponent throws a shot, I can intercept it with that reach as I'm kicking. You know what I mean? And I know Ghost Pepper knows this. He knows what I'm talking about. He's very familiar with it. He was just so comfortable
Yeah.
knowing that in another 10 minutes, I'm going to beat this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe by decision, split decision. Either way, I'm going to beat this guy. If not, stop him. He felt it in his heart. He knew it. He tasted it. But then he got too comfortable around a very, very dangerous veteran. And he
Yeah.
paid for it. But let me tell you something. Ghost Pepper is the type of dude that will learn from this particular mishap against Jim Miller and never, ever do that again.
True.
He's that type of dude. So it's a very good lesson for him to learn in the very, very beginning of his UFC career. So now he's going to understand that this is a whole nother level. See, he could get away with that on the regional circuit.
Yeah.
Even though those guys are professionals as well, he's more likely to get away with it in the regional circuit than the UFC. Everybody in the UFC is a killer like himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all guard must be on alert at all times.
No, those are facts. So again, Jim Miller, big win, but he remains kind of cemented in that fucking gatekeeper role. He's just like,
Hey,
oh, bring me your fucking. Was it? Didn't he get both Jalen and Roosevelt Roberts? Right, one of
he
them.
got Roosevelt Roberts. I
Yeah,
don't think he got Jalen. They never fought.
yeah, yeah. But snatch fucking Roosevelt, a fucking brown belt in jiu-jitsu, fucking snatch his ass up like a fucking whatever the fuck, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, the fight previous to that happening, fucking Roosevelt was fucking piecing him up too,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Jim Miller.
Hey, hey,
Also,
hey!
oh good,
Before we move on, just so people understand the type of competition that this man has seen in his lifetime, we got Frankie Edgar on the list. We got Bart Polazinski on the list. We got Gray Main on the list. Mac
oh yeah,
Danzig.
yeah,
We
Seth
got
Brzezinski,
Dwayne
Bang,
Bang Ludwig,
Ludwig,
Gleason
yeah,
Tebow, Charles Oliveira,
yeah,
Benson Henderson, Nate Diaz, Melvin Gallard, Joe Lozon, Pat Healy, Yancy Madero, Donald Cerrone, Benil Dariush, Danny Castillo, Michael Chia's son, Diego Sanchez, Takanori Gomi, Joe Lozon, Thiago Alves, Dustin Poirier, Anthony Pettis, Francisco Trinaldo, Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira again, Clay Guida, Vince Pichel. The, are you serious?
yeah.
You
That's
don't
a Hall
drop
of
your
Fame
hands
career right
around
there.
a guy. Come on, man. You don't drop your hands around a guy like that.
No,
You know what I mean? But I'm sure he would learn from this mistake and come
yeah.
back stronger.
No, 1,000%. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
again, shout out to both of them. You know, but fuck, dude, it's pretty unnerving to see. knowing how much he's at Fight Science under the great Ian Harris,
Hmm.
and the fact of it is, he saw, got his teammates like Terrion Flash Ware get to the UFC, and knowing that he
Hmm.
was just good enough. He's seen, when they were at Systems, Christos, in and out of it, in and out of the UFC, and whatever, kind of waiting, and beating people. He was under a combate contract that was pretty limiting. And if you
Hmm.
don't think that it was limiting in terms of what you do, well, look at no further than what's his name, fucking God, Sexy Mexi. No,
Hmm.
yeah, Castaneda, but also God, Gustavo
I know the guy
Lopez.
you're talking about,
Yeah,
Lopez.
Gustavo
Hmm.
Lopez, right? He was the champ. They didn't want to let him out of the contract. So that shit is ironclad. So,
Hmm.
you know, hopefully, his next outing is a tad bit better.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
look at what
and
we said. Speaking of, his teammates, right? Fucking Vince Casciaro, right?
hmm. Hmm.
Did one, and he's done. Like
Hmm.
he defied, him, Jimmy Flick. They were like,
Hey, one
it's
thing,
not worth it anymore.
one thing about aging fighters is what they lack in speed and power, they make up in experience and precision.
Right, absolutely.
Right? If you're a
Yeah,
young fighter, understand this about the old dogs. They might not be as fast as you. You might hit them more than they hit you, but they got that potential, a higher probability of touching you one time and
yep,
knocking you clean out than you do with multiple punches.
yeah,
So keep that in mind. Understand that Jim Miller will always keep his hands up. He'll keep his hands up when you're trying to beat up on him. He'll protect himself intelligently. But when he sees that opening, he will put your lights out. And he saw
yeah,
the opening, and he did so against Eric Gonzalez. But Eric will be back. He'll be
yeah.
back against a young buck and beat down a young buck for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And we're not talking about the Young Bucks from AEW. Nobody can beat them because they got a gazillion dollars behind them in Tony Khan's money. But speaking of shit that is money, we are at the co-main events of the evening. And really, it's not a money match, but we have one. Yes, we have the two heavyweights. Fucking Carlos Felipe of Brazil. He was 11-1 going into this. Now he's 11-2, beating the Belarusian Pitbull Andrei Arlovsky, former UFC champion. 32-20 is Arlovsky's fucking record after this. Um, Carlos Felipe didn't like this unanimous decision. He felt like he did enough to kind of be the hand of time that Arlovsky needed to stop, but that wasn't the case because all three judges went unanimous with this one.
This one was very simple, man. Just like we discussed on Thursday, Orlovsky is not going to stand in front of him and bang,
Right.
which is what Carlos is good at. He's
Yep.
going to stick and move. He's going to use all his long range weapons, occasional roundhouse kicks. But everything you're going to see from him are straight shots. You know what I mean? Straight shots to keep his opponent at arm's length or feet length. And he did that. And he did it very well, which is why Orlovsky walked out of that cage victorious. It was
Yeah.
very simple game plan.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the heavyweight rankings, right?
Hmm.
And crazy enough, I mean, Arlovsky's not in the top 15, and I'm not saying that
I think
he
he's like
should.
19 or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, he's not even getting in sniffing distance of the title. So like, what's next for Arlovsky? Because you got
All,
Sergey Pavlovic, you got
yeah,
Sergey Spivak, you got two
right,
Sergeys at 14 and 15.
right. The good thing
Blagoy.
is,
Yeah, go ahead.
the good thing is, Orlovsky can leapfrog every one of those suckers.
Yeah,
Every last one of them he can leapfrog if the promotion decides, and it will be a fight that will be formidable. I mean, yes, he's low in the rankings. Yes, he's older, but the name carries weight. The
yeah,
fact that
I
he's a
think so.
former champ, carries weight. You know what I mean? I mean, all the other guys that you just mentioned that's ahead of him. Who knows those guys? Nobody knows those guys, but people know Orlovsky. People will watch Orlovsky, and
Yeah,
he's got the skills. He's got the knockout power. He's got the boxing skills, the kickboxing skills. He's got some wrestling to take you to the ground. He'll submit you if you allow him. He's got those uh, uh, in his arsenal as well, right?
yeah,
So he says in his post-fight interview that he's on another title run.
yeah.
I guess
It could be.
that's what he's up to. He's hoping for another title run. He's talking about fighting someone in the top 10 or whatnot. I mean, that's a good fight for anybody in the top 10. I would, if I'm in the top 10, I'll take that fight.
Yeah.
I'll take that fight.
Which
And I'll take that fight and springboard myself with his name a little higher.
so here's the deal, right? So I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
at the 150. I mean the heavyweight division, right? You got Spivak, Sergey Spivak, Pavlovich, right at 14 and 15. Walt
Mm-hmm.
Harris, Bagloy, Ivanov, right? Tom
Mm-hmm.
Aspinall, Augustus
Beat
Sakai, who,
Orlovsky already.
right? Exactly, Aspinall
Aspinall
did,
beat him
right?
already.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
right? Augustus Sakai, Marcin, the Tibura, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shamil Abdul Ramakimov, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dawkins, Rosenstrike, who Rosenstrike has already beaten him. Alexander. That's the fight to make is Arlovsky and Alexander Volkov, because I don't. Yeah, I'm looking at our because he's he's lost to God, like just talking about the staying power of one Andrei Arlovsky, right? He loses five straight. Stipe Miocic, Alistair Overeem, Josh Barnett, Francis Ngannou, Marcin Tybura, right? That happens
Mm-hmm.
from 2016 to 2017. Five losses, right? How
Mm-hmm.
many world champions? Stipe. I mean, Alistair is a world champion in Pride, right? So,
Yeah.
so that's Stipe, Alistair, Barnett's a former champion, Ngannou's the
They're
current champion.
all champions.
Right,
They're all champions. Even
right.
Marcin T. Burrow.
Tybar,
He's a
yeah, yeah,
former champion himself.
right, absolutely. In another organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
he's already gone against, Augustus Sakai and lost back in
Mm-hmm.
2019. He had a
Mm-hmm.
no contest with Walt Harris, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the one right after his daughter unfortunately was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a rough one. But
Mm-hmm.
he was already lost to Jairzinho Rosenstrike, right? And a loss to Aspinall, like you said, via rear naked choke just in February, right? So I say, if he does move up in the rankings, like the fight would be against Volkov,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool too because that's literally a former Bellator heavyweight champion, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the battle of UFC and Bellator's champions of their past, and right at number 5, right? Then he
Mm-hmm.
starts to have trouble. That's the thing. He starts to have trouble because most of the guys in the top 4 basically have wins on him already, and
Mm-hmm.
they're in well, maybe Curtis Blades, right? Maybe Derek Lewis, but then again, I believe Derek Lewis beat him. God, when? Or maybe not.
They've never fought.
Yeah, they never fought. So I'm just talking
Yeah.
out my ass. So yeah,
Yeah.
so those two, those are interesting ones to me. Alexander Volkov
Mm-hmm.
and Curtis Blades. But I also don't want Curtis Blades because all he's gonna do is judo shit the fuck out of him, and it's gonna be a boring fucking fight. So I don't want that. I kind of don't want to see Curtis Blades fight again. I'm done. I'm done. But speaking,
unfortunately,
yeah,
unfortunately, Curtis Blaze is still a major contender, a top fiver.
yeah, and Roman Reigns is the top guy in the WWE. I'm not watching that shit either. So, God, How the fuck are you gonna have Dude, I mean, just a little rant, but I just fucking saw that Roman Reigns was talking shit about CM Punk. Okay, you can do that, right? But motherfucker, CM Punk created and pitched the Shield.
Mm.
Yo ass was still using Shield music up until a year ago when you want to be a fucking tribal chief, but you still wear the fucking Shield pants, the SWAT pants.
Mm.
I'm from the
Mm.
island. Ain't nobody got fucking SWAT pants in the island talking about tribal chief. Get the fuck out of here. The whole fuck out of here. Not half a fuck, like the whole fuck out of here. Right? How the hell are you gonna be a former SWAT guy and now you're a tribal chief, right? But then you have your cousins, right? Your cousins, but they're twin brothers, sons of Rikishi, but they're brothers, but they're named cousin. That are also in a penitentiary when your ass was a fucking SWAT guy. And you weren't even the fucking guy that CM Punk. It was Chris Hero that fucking CM Punk wanted it as the third person of the Shield. And then Vince was like, no, we're going to. I think his name was Leaky. Like Leaky Faucet. Or Liake. Or what. His real name is like Liati Joe Anawahi. Right? So. And I'm not talking shit about Liati Joe Anawahi. I'm saying the fucking presentation of Roman Reigns sucks ass. Just like Curtis Blades. Just like Curtis Blades. So we are at the main events of the evening. We had Norma Dumont against Aspen Ladd, and I don't think anybody ever wanted to fucking see this fight. And obviously,
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah,
I
Aspen
didn't
Ladd
watch it.
was originally supposed to fight Holly Holm, former UFC bantamweight champion, but that didn't transpire because Holly Holm withdrew. So this is what we got, man, and I think we're gonna get in. So I definitely want to get into the controversy that Alex was talking about Aspen Ladd's corner, but Norma Dumont, right? Norma Dumont. Did you see or hear what the fuck Norma Dumont came out to?
No, what was it?
It's that fucking rock and roll song by Gary Glitter.
I don't know Gary Glitter.
Uh, he. Do you know where Gary Glitter is now?
No. Who?
In fucking prison for child porn.
She must have missed the memo.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You nobody could. I know she's Brazilian, and I know, like, you know, I. It's what they play at the soccer stadiums and what have you. But nobody in her camp could have thrown it into the fucking Google machine and be like, hey, this might not be a good look for you. I don't want to hear any fucking shit out of her or her gym about Save My Children. You lost it. You suck. Like, on ESPN, no less. Like, nobody at ESPN was like, no, Norma, you can't walk out to this shit. And you know which song that I'm talking about, right?
I don't know. Which one is it?
The ba da 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 hey da 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 da. That's the Gary Glitter song. It's called Rock and Roll.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
So
I know that song.
Yeah, but that dude,
They played in the NBA a lot.
Yeah, but again, don't let me catch any of those motherfuckers going save our children and all that shit, because you can't be like save our children, but also play pedophiles music. You know, like, I don't know if you can see it, but that's Gary Glitter's fucking shit. He is in jail. Like so Paul Francis Gadd, known professionally as Gary Glitter, is an English former glam rock singer who achieved success in the 1970s and 80s, known for extreme glam image of glitter suits, makeup, and platform boots, and his energetic live performances. He sold over 20 million records at 26 hit singles, which spent a total of 180 weeks on the UK singles chart, right? But Gary Glitter, the nasty fucker, yeah. So, oh yeah, duh. The fucking that shit was used in the fucking Joker movie. Remember when he's dancing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Well, they
Mhm.
didn't pay his ass, which I'm all like,
Mhm.
what? What's worse, right? Not paying his ass for using his music because he's a pedophile, or yeah, see that was the oh shit, it's another tab. But yeah, it's when Joker's dancing down the stairs, that iconic fucking deal. That's Gary Glitter's rock and roll, and Warner Brothers is like, we're not gonna pay you for it. But why the fuck are you using it? Didn't they
Cause
out
it's
your ass?
free. It's
Well,
free.
did they out everybody fucking being in charge with whether it be Epstein or Weinstein? Didn't that shit just happen?
Hey man,
It's
they're
still
like not everybody knows this guy's case anyway, so let's use it. I didn't know
well,
who he was. This
yeah.
fella, this
I
Krispy Kreme or whatever you call them.
yeah, no, you say that, and I might have a donut here. Jesus Christ. Um, but with that and Jimmy Savile, right? Jimmy Savile was he hosted Top of the Pops, kind of like Dick Clark in American Bandstand here, right?
Mhm.
And Jimmy Savile was a fucking violent fucking pedophile, like almost like what's that guy Jerry Sandusky, right, of Ohio State?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
remember him.
yeah. Like started a foundation just to fuck kids. Jared from
Mhm.
the Subway also.
The Lions.
Yeah, the Lions, right? The
Ah,
Nittany
yeah,
Lions. Penn State, Penn
Nittany
State.
Lions. Penn State.
Yeah,
Yep,
Penn
yep.
State.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Jerry Sandusky, fucking Jimmy Savile, and the fucking Subway guy, Jared. They all they all started foundations to fuck kids. And one of which yeah, yeah, it's weird.
Only in America.
No, it's
Only in
well. I
America.
mean, Jimmy Savile is in the UK as well as Gary Glitter, and I believe that Gary Glitter has been on Top of the Pops, so that's weird. And I mean, just since we're kind of on the subject, yes, of course, R. Kelly, horrible fucking shit. Don't fuck kids. Please don't fuck kids. Also, also, you gotta put Jerry Lee Lewis in there. You gotta put Elvis. Priscilla was 14.
14. Nobody says
14.
anything about that one.
No, no.
Mhm.
What's it? Uh, Ted Nugent, Hard in the Paint, about American rights and shit like that, right? Right?
Kill the pigs.
Yeah, but you're famously like, oh, what are you gonna do as a parent? Have your kid live in famine and shit like that, and she's already gonna be into the drugs and fucking people anyway, right? You could have her do that and still be poor, or you could have her marry a rock star. That's literally what he fucking said. I'm paraphrasing it, but that's his thing. He's like, and that's how he got his one of his wives, who was like 14 to 16 years of age, right, to marry him because she came from an immigrant society. I think Asian, Laotian. Like I don't know from which, but the girl was definitely 14, right? If you want to be Save My Children, ask your grandma if you're a certain age how old she was when she had her first baby. Yeah, where's the Save Her Children?
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Just said. So just you know, be fair is what I'm saying. Be fair with everything,
Mm-mm.
right? So
Leave the damn kids alone.
yeah, leave the fucking kids alone, man. That's it's not good. But is speaking of the Aspen Lad controversy, right? So none other than USA Today, um, they have it as their on MMA Junkie. They said did the cornering controversy. The primary narrative coming out of the main event was not how Norma Dumont probably secured a title shot in the women's featherweight division with her unanimous decision win and good on her for doing so. But rather, the scenes and sounds coming from Aspen Ladd's corner between rounds as she tried to make something happen in the fight. We don't need to sugarcoat anything. This is not great stuff. Ladd 9-2 in MMA, 4-2 in UFC, could not get out of first gear from the opening bell, and it was evident she was falling behind on the scorecards. Not many people disagree with that, but in this scenario, the onus is the corner to encourage the athlete to turn things around. We've seen countless methods of coaching, but by the way, Ladd's boyfriend and head coach Jim West talked to the fighter seemed to startle a lot of the viewing audience. And I'm going to play the audio for
Okay.
us.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me know if you can hear it.
Not yet.
Oh, you can't hear it? Okay, hold on.
No.
And again, this is from UFC BT Sport, so I want to give credit where credit's due. You know, as to not getting taken off. And all rights and purposes get to, go to the UFC and UFC on BT Sport, right? So I want to put those disclaimers out, just like people thinking that we're just stealing it from it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not doing that, but this is kind of historical context, right? So, let's see. God, where is it? Why is it not playing? I got it the first time. It's not playing again. But essentially, God. Basically, he was saying you're fucking around, right? Like, and it's her coach and her boyfriend. You know, get it together, essentially. So that's the effect of what he said. But again, like I could see the just in time. Alex says and refresh the page. Okay, so let me do that. Refreshing it. Da da da. Da 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 da. All right. So here we go again. We'll try it again. Let's see. And just in time. Yes. So we're gonna go share screen. La 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 la. Go to the tab. And here we go.
You're kind of standing in that no man's land, okay? Lead with your backside, not your front side, okay? She's trying to counter you with the right hand. You're fucking around, okay? You gotta fight. You're down 2-0 now. You gotta fight. You gotta change the pace, and it's gotta be quick. You're down 3-0. Please tell me what you're doing. You have to throw more than one punch. You gotta get into the fight. It's time to fight. It's the 4th round. You're down 3-0. Pick it up, okay? Fight to win. Fight to win every second of every minute of every round. You have to finish this broad now. Hey, I don't know what you're doing. You close the distance and you're jumping out.
Like how you finished.
I don't know what you're waiting for. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You have cardio through the days. Push the pace.
Now you have to.
No, you have to. You have to go balls to the wall. Caution to the wind, and you got to go. You're down basically 4-0. You may have won that last round. Either way, you have to finish it.
Okay, so that was that. Alex says the woman seemed to be offended by the dudes passing it off as a good coach, being tough. What is the real issue? Are we just too soft now? So for me, right, and it gets weird when the coach is also the significant other, right? Everybody loves it when it's Pat Barry and Rose Namajunas when it's well, or Lauren Murphy and Joe Murphy when it's well, right? But then everybody wants to shit on it, once it doesn't work. But in Aspen's defense, right, you have your significant other who's also your coach, right? So two big kind of tent poles of your life, and you're getting your ass kicked, and maybe it's the warrior spirit that's telling you, hey, maybe Norma has my number, right? Just like Anthony Smith, right? We all remember Anthony Smith, right? His fucking coaches should have stopped it. For sure. For fucking sure. So with that being said, like, I don't know how to feel about it. And of course, that's the catch-22, right? Like, if women are watching, they're going. I don't want to generalize as a woman thing or a soft thing or what have you, but it probably wasn't the best scenarios for Aspen Ladd, for sure. That knowing that it's her coach, who's also her boyfriend, that's telling her all of this stuff that is supposedly constructive criticism. Who made the fucking game plan, yo? You did.
Okay, I have a question. I didn't watch the fight. I fell
Right.
asleep.
Yeah.
I have a question. Was he lying
He wasn't
about her
lying.
losing?
No, he wasn't lying. I think
Okay, that's
he.
one.
Right.
That's one. Okay, so he wasn't lying, right? Okay. The problem here is it the profanity
No,
that he
I
was
think
using? I don't understand.
I use profanity a lot
Right?
of times. I've had you know males and females and different identification types, right, on the podcast and what have you. But I think I also though know it's all about the delivery, right? Because my mom was, a Fijian, right? Well, Alex says I think it's considered abuse in today's world. You're
What?
absolutely no. Wait.
Unfortunately, it is considered that, but that abuse. This is how these people talk in their gym. This is how they talk. You ever seen a football coach talk to his football players?
Yeah.
It's worse than this. It's way worse.
Which
It's understood. It's understood between coach and fighter or coach and player that this is how we communicate. Now, if people don't like it, then don't eavesdrop on their conversation. You know what I mean? Get the cameras off if you don't like what they're talking about. It's nobody's business what's going on in there. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something.
I don't know. I mean, anytime that because again, in terms of delivery, right? Because there are some people, right? Like won't or can't, say what I really feel, or, maybe carry a gun or a knife or whatever. Because, like, and I had this conversation with somebody really close to me who's carrying a literal, like, fucking 2-foot machete at his side, on his hip. And he's like, you should get one too. And I was like, you don't understand. And that person that I was talking to might have been Anglo, right? An Anglo gent, and didn't understand why I felt the way that I did, right? Like, I know, history speaking, that I will never be a patriot. That anything I say or do, the minute it fucking slips up, minute I slip up, right? Or says something that nobody wants to hear or everybody wants to hear or whatever. Do you know when Hulk Hogan was found out about the N-word controversy and I posted a video to Instagram? Do you know how many N-words I got on the comments? That was like 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago. I stopped hashtagging and I stopped reading the comments that day. I don't. So I think delivery is everything. Especially the way that I see it is my mom was from Fiji. She could have taught me and my sister Fijian, but she didn't because of how people talk. And then because of that, people, when we got around Fijian people, right, or people of different other languages that we were around, and once they knew that we didn't speak, then we knew they were going to talk shit about us, right? And
In the language.
Right. And then I'm also deaf. As of 2003, I had 52% hearing loss. So I can not hear more than I can hear, right? So with that all being said, tones and delivery mean everything to me, right? So as a male who's kind of towering over, and I'm not justifying one way or another, but this is just another way of looking at things. As a male, as a coach, and as the significant other of Aspen Ladd, everything that he's gonna do is scrutinize. Fuck, I scrutinize the shit out of fucking Mike Perry bringing in his girlfriend, the first girlfriend, and that didn't work out, and he brings the next one. You know, knows fuck all about fighting. And I'm like, why is anybody allowing that? But I also do the same when, you know, it's an amateur show and everything, and gym unaffiliated. I'm like, fuck, this motherfucker just drove here after seeing one fight where dude gets mollywopped, fucking can't remember his name, doesn't know where he put his wallet, none of that shit, right? And he's sitting in that fucking ambulance, and then all of a sudden, this pregnant woman comes in. It's like, have you seen my husband? Shows us a picture from her phone, and it's the motherfucker that got knocked out. Why? Because they didn't fucking tell her that he was going to fight. He said he was going to play fucking cards at the casino and shit like that. And she went to go pick him up. And the horror that he's still concussed and needs to get to the fucking hospital. And she's pregnant, right? So, again, delivery to me is everything, right? And it might not be to others. So I could see it. I can't say one way or another. I do know that words can hurt. I mean, again, how many times did I get called an N-word with the Hulk Hogan stuff? Or, hell, even some of the stuff that I do now. Or why aren't you doing more MMA? Fuck that wrestling shit. And the wrestling people, fuck MMA. You got this many views. I do this because I love it. I love doing this with Voodoo. I like the guests that I have. You know, so that's why I do it. You know, and that's that. Bruce Bobtrotter says that was the worst UFC main event of all time. Admit it. Just admit it, guys. Enough of this false positivity bullshit.
Hey,
UFC 209. UFC 209. Fucking Woodley and Thompson. I will put in contention. Talk about equality. Both of them are shit. Wonder Boy living at home with his mom at 40, right? Teaching kids taekwondo, whatever, right? And fucking Woodley, who hasn't won. You guys want to talk shit about Conor? Woodley has a worse record than fucking Conor does. And a quarter of the money. So, you know? And Alex says...
Thanks for boxing.
Yeah, and men ain't shit. It's the and men ain't shit mentality. I don't know. Everybody's gonna be. It's just like the yes, always, forever. Fuck Woodley, 100%, 100%. He could have saved our attention spans and his brain cells. Not how the fuck are you going to rap? And I'm all about getting opportunities outside of fight, but you gotta rap and act, but then go like I'm making more money in the UFC, then shit talk to Dana White, and then also want more money from Dana White after you fucking piss him off, and then having boring fucking fights. How the fuck can you do such a thing? Nobody, please, nobody follow Tyron Woodley's fucking, rubric for being a fucking 2-time world champion fighter.
I have another question for you.
Go for it.
If he talked to her the way he did, and then she ended up winning, you think we'll be having this conversation right now?
I don't know. To me, it's too hot. And Bruce Bobtrotter says, and a horrible card.
Indeed.
I mean, there was some bright spots. There were 4 performances of the night, so that's
True.
it. But Alex says, Voodoo, I agree, 100%. I agree. The problem is people's feelings are hurt, and they have to shit on something that has no problem. Hey, putting myself out there. I created a fucking group on Facebook, and I walked out just because no, seriously. I have what one of my friends diagnosed as imposter syndrome, right? Because I was never really fucking good at anything else, right? I was 31 before I did my first interview, right? uh, I was also, I didn't make it to 30 with my parents. My dad died at 25. I was 25, and then my mom is gone by 28, right? So I'm super sensitive, 100%. But then I'm even offended when people are like, "Oh, you're a good podcaster. You're a good interview." I get offended by that because in my mind, I'm looking at Rogan. Look at everybody who's ever drawn money. Rogan, Jim Ross, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Chris Jericho, Tony Schiavone, Sean Mooney, Medusa, whoever the fuck, right? John McCarthy and
Thompson.
Josh Thompson. Yeah, great fucking podcast, right? Great fucking podcast. So I'm listening to them, and I'm like, people are calling me good. What? So those words and whatever. If you want to, put a face to it, I'm that. I'm crochet pussy hat wearer, I guess. Like
Hey,
I'm
you might
I'm
not be as popular yet. It doesn't mean you're not good. It doesn't mean they're lying just because you're not as popular as these people.
yeah, I don't know. So I appreciate that, but it's just weird, right? But I am one of those folks, right? And Alex says Cormier said he saw nothing wrong with it, and he would like him as a coach, right? And I think
Right?
but that's the thing. Like I didn't play football, so I didn't get any of it, yeah, and oh shit. Honestly, you and Voodoo make a good team. I'm being seriously. I come to watch you and Voodoo discuss MMA. Alex, you're amazing. And the
Yes,
shit
you are.
talk about the shit that Alex Ramirez is doing. Like he fucking finds his heroes, right? In skateboarding and everything like that, meets them, shows love. So shout out to Alex Ramirez, shout out to Bruce Bob Trotter. Like you guys make this shit happen. We do this for you.
That's
But
right.
also when
That's
I
right.
was right after my mom died, right, back in 2013, right, I started getting into the local scene because I was living in Bakersfield and I was like, if I get back to LA, I want to be in the fucking scene. And there was this little promotion called U of MMA at Club Nokia, which is now Microsoft Theater. And I would see this guy. I couldn't pronounce his first name, but Voodoo. And I was like, oh shit, like, and the way that you would, I mean, to me, he's the undisputed king of the Nokia theater. You can call it what you fucking want now, Microsoft and whatever the fuck, but to me, this gentleman right next to me is on that fucking same level because Nokia theater, right? Nokia theater, right? You are the undisputed king. Whoever came to those UFMMA fights and saw your fucking post-fight, promos, you're the undisputed king. I think Donna Gonzalez even declared you as such, right? So look, no further than me doing this. This is one of my life goals. Is because I said, man, it'd be cool if I fucking was able to meet him when I was making at the time in a corporate marketing position, sharing a corner office in the nice part of Bakersfield, but it wasn't me. And I was like, one day, one day. So the fact that, again, the commentator for UFMMA is Donna Gonzalez, one of my good friends, one of my wife's good friends. Becky Dominguez was with her in terms of, the Mat Therapy podcast, the first jiu-jitsu podcast that I really listened to. Rafa Esparza was there. But yes, Voodoo is there, and that's the thing. I'm living my life dream. So, people can say what they want. They can comment what they want. It's a free country, and it's
Yes, it is.
whatever, right? And you've got bots and shit like that. And I had a bot attack me the other day, and I might have fallen into it, and I was just like, bot! Because I think it was like a Rogan thing, where I had the second comment on a particular clip, and I think they were talking about Woodley, but I was like, fuck the Woodley, I got second on Rogan, yeah, and they were like, oh, fuck this guy, and I was like, you know what? You took 7 months to respond, hashtag bot, and that's what I pointed out. So there you go, and
you.
oh, he's like, and I met Adam at a taco stand. Yep, Avenue
What?
26. Yeah, right behind the yard, Joe Schilling's yard, right? And nice to meet you. Next to meet Voodoo and just talk combat sports one day. Which, by the way, Alex, you're going to get your wish. I think uh, Voodoo's phone got hot, but we'll make it happen. Hell, if you want to come on Voodoo in the Woods, and we could just talk about whatever the fuck, please let us know. I mean, you know my number, dude. So, bro, we would love that. Nothing more to it. And it's weird. You see all my various World of MMA and Bruce Lee and autograph Minoru Suzuki figures and everything like that. And Voodoo's back to join us. But he says he wants to join us one day and just to fucking talk fucking combat sports.
That
So
sounds
we're,
that sounds like a plan to me, man. I'm down with that. Let's do it. Let's do it, Mr.
yes,
Ramirez. All
yes.
day.
He says, can you do a three-way podcast? I can get up to 10 motherfuckers in here. So let's do this.
Let's
Alex,
get
we're going to do it. We're going to do it, bro. But speaking of doing it, we have done it. I mean, do you have any more on the Aspen Lad kind of controversy? I was more offended by Norma Dumont's fucking Gary Glitter shit, to me.
Hey, all I have to say about that is, we as a country, we're getting away from what makes this country special. The fact that I mean, we can't decide whether we want the shot or not. You know what I mean? We can't speak a certain way. I thought this was the land of the free, home of the brave. What happened to all that? What's going on here?
Well, I can tell you exactly where it happened.
What?
A more perfect union. Like, literally, you start this sumbitch off with the fucking grammatical error. The fuck? That's where it went wrong.
Hey,
And
hey. Freedom to use grammatically error all day long, every day. Hey, man, the bottom line still remains. We're supposed to have these rights to say whatever we want to say, right? Freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of this, freedom of that. What happened to all that? What happened to
Jim
all
Crow,
that? Yeah, Jim Crow Joe.
woman suffrage,
Jim Crow Joe happened.
fucking Emmett Till, the fucking, I talked about the Rosa Parks thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, for anybody that doesn't know, again, nothing against Rosa Parks, but there was a 13, 14-year-old unwed black mother, uneducated black mother, right? Well, she wasn't a mother yet, but she was to have the baby, right? And that was like, for the NAACP in Alabama, where they had Martin Luther King and all these, fucking marches and people getting water hosed and fucking shot at and, Molotov cocktails to their house and cross burnings and shit like that. To have, a PR thing, to have an unwed black, like pretty much everything that all of the KKK and everything thought we were, right? And justified Jim Crow with, right? Like that's it, right? So they were like, no, we're not doing that. So the NAACP gets fucking Rosa Parks, who was the secretary of the office of NAACP. They tell you she was coming home from work, right? But they didn't tell you what that workplace was. And that workplace was the NAACP in Birmingham, right? Where it happened. They fucking staged it. And they made sure whoever reported on the 14-year-old girl, they paid like big New York, newspapers to kind of do it. Because, New York was the fucking centerpiece. That's why ABC, NBC, they're all there. 30 Rock, all that shit. New York, right? That's where it is. So the NAACP paid the people in New York to run the story of Rosa Parks rather than this girl. And that's how we know Rosa Parks as the hero that she was, right? Talk about freedom, right? Again, Emmett Till. They beat that boy like he was a fucking Klingon. Worthless piece of shit. Only to find out that the lady lied about it on her deathbed. She confessed. That, his mom, Mamie Till, up in Chicago, had to see her son like that. And the cries of Mamie Till is very much like the cries of Martha Hart, Owen Hart's widow, right? That she wanted to open caskets because she wanted the motherfuckers responsible for both Owen and Emmett Till's deaths to look and what the fuck they did to their family. So, again, people want to talk about freedom. Again, the French, right? When they go on, every other fucking country gets 6 weeks paid vacation, paid holiday. We gotta work and work. 2 jobs, 2 40-hour jobs, and whatever. The fucking college tuition is, fucking skyrocketing every fucking deal. And again, we've got again, this whole. The first time I heard the "not my president" gimmick, right, was an Obama one, and a bunch of people in Central California didn't want the black guy winning.
Yeah, my president.
Right. So, and that happened everywhere else, right? And then you get Trump in there, and then again you got the other side going, "He's not my president." So you can't do that every time you don't get your fucking way. That's a petulant child, right? But what are you really saying, right? Is it just your tribe's person didn't win? Or are you saying this fucked up thing of one guy holding the nukes, the fucking military, the education, the fucking pocketbook, all of that shit? It worked back in 1776 when this shit was 13 colonies. But you think the fucking forefathers knew about Facebook? They would have thought we were all witches. They would have burned us all at the stake.
But
fucking iPhone, Android, all that shit.
But what's up with these cancel culture folks, man? Why are they so powerful? What's going on?
I could not tell you because I'm not that. I mean, so just like the we had the transgender. First, we had Fallon Fox, right? And Rogan got into trouble because saying like that's fucked up that you're gonna have, a born male transition to female, but the endocrine system is still the same.
Yes.
Right. And again, Fallon Fox, caved in fucking Erica Newsom's fucking head, right? She was never the same, right? And then when Fallon Fox, fought Ashley Evan Smith and fucking Ashley Evan Smith whooped that ass, she retired. So where was this whole thing?
How convenient.
Right. So, and the same thing, with the gal at Combate, right? They trot out a 0-1, hadn't fought in 7 years, female from France, right? It was one of you guys say this is the worst main event, whatever. Like I said, Woodley and fucking Wonderboy, right, is definitely there, and that other, the transgender in male to female deal in Combate, right? That wasn't the main event. I think it was like co-main or what have you, but it was, it didn't work. And for me, I actually like, how Thailand does it. They account for the endocrine system. You can define yourself any way you want, right? But
It's
you're
your
gonna
choice.
fight. You're gonna fight the gender that you were born as, and you can do that whatever. But you're gonna fight males, right?
It's only fair.
Right. Yeah.
It's only fair. I mean,
But I think that's but here we go with Dana, right? Dana, it was the month and the year that my dad passed away, so I remember it clear as day. They got fucking Dana out of a Hollywood restaurant, and like, Ronda's tearing it up in Strikeforce. Will we ever see women in the UFC? He's like, not a fucking chance. You'll never see women in the UFC. Within a year, he changes his fucking tune, right?
ching 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 ching.
So, with that being said, right, and now we've got 4 divisions. There's Invicta. No matter it's amateur, pro, or whatever, you put a women's fight on the card, that is going to be the one that people, when they're going home to their cars, they're going to talk about, right?
Hey, just last week, 4 women got performance of the night bonuses. Just last week.
Right. Absolutely. So I would love we get to a point where there's a transgender division in every, if You want to play like transgender CrossFit, transgender kickboxing, weightlifting, all that stuff. Female to male, male to female. You don't want to identify as a gender.
That's cool.
Cool. Like there's a division. Like if we're really talking about inclusiveness, that's where I think we should be. But going into trounce the records of females that have fought for decades, and that there's some weirdness about it, right? And especially if the scientifics, which Alex Ramirez says, how do we fix women versus trans? If you go after the trans-based science, you're an asshole, especially if you refer to them as male. Does a trans league need to happen to make it fair? That's exactly what
Yep.
I'm saying.
Yep.
And
Exactly
even if you
it.
don't, and that's also how you can even it out, right? Because it happened with race. It happened with race. Oh, the Negro League, the baseball league, isn't as good as the MLB until they started including everyone and Jackie Robinson. But for one Jackie Robinson, look at how many fucking Negro Satchel Paige. I mean, there was a whole league based on it. And it wasn't just blacks; it was, Dominicans, and what ends up making the MLB still to this day, right? So I think once you get everyone involved, right? Right now it's still the infantile stages. That's what I think, and it's easy for the LGBTQ or whatever, it could be blacks. Like, why aren't there blacks in NASCAR, right? Well, if you have a African American contingent that watches NASCAR, right?
They'll be there.
They'll be there. They'll be there, and the money is right, and they're paying customers, right? So that's what I'm saying. Is just like I want everywhere to be everywhere. I want there to be female race car drivers. I don't watch race car driving, but for those who do, there's little girls watching and like, oh man, I like Jeff Gordon or what have you, right? But I want me. I like Dale Jr., but what about me? And Alex says male versus female isn't fair, right? How is female versus trans? Like I said, I'm not qualified to talk about it, but again, here's the thing. Brandy, the singer Brandy, Ray J's older sister, and Caitlyn Jenner both killed somebody.
Yeah.
Right? So that's it. John Jones, fucking crashes into a pregnant lady and then runs into like a gazelle in the night, forgets that he fucking has the coke and the money in the car, runs back, and then runs like a gazelle in the night where he's eventually captured. So like that's the thing,
And furthermore, there's no way you're gonna convince me that a 22 rifle is equivalent to a 50 cal rifle. It's not the same. It's not the same. Yeah, they're both guns. They're both sniper guns, but the calibers are different, and we need to take that into account.
Right, but also if Tamir Rice has a water pistol, and they shoot him dead, he's about the same age as my kid now. If my oldest son, who has mental illness, right, bipolar, manic depressive with Asperger's, right, and my wife tries to get him IEPs or whatever, and what did we get told? Because we were poor, right? Oh, he's normal. He's just lazy, right? But gets into it with his, at the time, his girlfriend's mom, tackles her, not justifying any of it. But that day he called a helpline, and this is a kid who I had told. I mean, he's my stepson, right? But I don't believe in that step whatever. It's just my older kids, right?
Yes.
And he calls the helpline, and for me, I was telling him when he'd be playing games, don't be running around saying you're going to kill people. That's not going to work, right? And this is somebody with a known disease, right? Mental, right? Talk about stuff they can't hear. Everybody triggered and all that, whatever. Legit fucking chemical imbalance, right? And then he did put his hands on her throat, but once he realized what he fucking did, he snaps out of it.
Mm-hmm.
They got him for $500,000 bail, $500,000 bail, and attempted murder.
Wow.
Where that there was the rich the Instagram influencer, his son hit that nurse coming home in West LA, right at the
Killed her.
beginning of the year, killed her.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even get the fucking shit my kid got. And then he was up in my son was up in Santa Maria, right? You know, fucking that's the land, the first kind of vestige, you know, Santa Maria, San Luis Obispo. When you get into that Carmel, fucking Clint Eastwood, fucking talking to a chair, hating Obama and shit like that, you know, like, and Obama deported a shit ton of people and dropped bombs on people's fucking families and gatherings. So, you know, that total disclosure, right? But that's the thing. And when they put the fucking rap sheet, right? Because my oldest son Lyle is a light skinned, right? Because of his mom being Filipino and what have you, and they didn't know what to make of him, right? So literally, they were like, "Oh, this Afghani. This is why we should have bombed Osama, and that's why Obama is there. That fucking birther." Yeah. So again,
Oh.
so free, you know, free. Subjective, man. It's so subjective.
No
You know?
such thing as free.
I don't know. I mean, you might be, you might be privy to it, and if it's good for you, then it's good. But we can't say that it applies to everyone. You know, I'm even actually reading the damn report, and they're like, yeah, you know, yeah, it's nuts, right? It pisses me off actually, so I'm not gonna get into it. But fighting is about being equal parts. That's why we have classes. It's not about
Right.
penis and vagina. Yeah,
Right.
you can't say that though, right? Because this bullshit about weight cutting, right? How the fuck are you gonna be 125 weigh-in, but when you fight in the fucking cage, you're
180.
130? Yeah. So that, you know, a Jalen Turner and a Richard Leroy are theoretically the same weight class. But Jalen Turner is a giant. Richard Leroy is about my size. But also, Richard Leroy beats Jalen Turner at CXF 8. So this whole blanketed thing, like, that's one of the things that we have to stop doing. We have to stop generalizing, I feel. Right? It's the they. It's Republicans. It's Democrats. It's liberal. It's conservative. Fuck it. Are you American? Because if you're American, it shouldn't matter what the fuck. Right? But
And Mr. Roque, it isn't about the V versus the P. That's not what we're talking about. But what we're talking about here is pretty much the caliber in the weapons, right? We're not talking about the person wielding the weapon, but the caliber in their clip is what we're discussing here. And
yeah.
a 50 cal cannot go up against a 22, man. When a 50 cal hits, it blows up the entire human being. You know what I mean? When the 22 hits, the bullet bounces around inside the body. Nothing gets blown up. This is equivalent to what we're talking about here. The power difference is just too great, and this
Right.
must be considered.
Well, see, and I don't know anything about guns, to be honest with you. But like for my comparison, I'm gonna say like this, right? You can have a fighter, give them all the food, or her the food, or whatever they want to identify. You know, give them everything. Basically, put them at an American top team, a Jackson Wink, a Black House, a what have you, right? Then you take another fighter, right? Comes from no name gym, you know, is eating fucking spam sandwiches and ramen noodles and what have you, right? Doesn't have a belt in any one particular whatever. Doesn't consider themselves a martial artist. We talked about what's his face, the fighter, Wilder. Wilder ends up fighting because his daughter is sickly, right? And he needs a better way other than his fucking job that he had at the time to provide for her. That's still his deal. You know, Ray Borg, same deal. His son, right?
Hey, look at that one fight, that one weightlifter that went in the Olympics and broke all the records.
Yeah. So that's not cool.
Broke the records.
That's
This is the strength that we're talking about. That's significant.
right. But see, that's all virtue signaling, because this is the same committee that's also 86ing wrestling from the Olympics, so they can't. To me, they can't be trusted, right? On like, oh, we'll take out wrestling, but you guys can have your jiu-jitsu, right? So, but walk running is not even on the chopping block for one iota. You know how that does better numbers than wrestling, I don't know. But that also, how we treat wrestling here in the States, right? Like, and it's essentially kind of encompass MMA, right? Because UFC and Dana White and the Fertitta brothers quest to get legalized in every state imaginable, and not an outlaw mud show that most people in the early to mid 90s viewed cage fighting as, right? Or even the 2000s. I think it's 99, 2000 when Zuffa buys out the UFC, right? But the quests for being realized, we adopt dumb rules from fucking boxing and amateur wrestling. Weight cutting. Again, that's 2 fights. That's the weight cut, and then you fight at not the fucking weight. How the fuck does that make sense? This is all virtue signaling, right? The Olympics doing that because they don't want the LGBTQ community to not watch their fucking product because it's a fucking product, right? Here's the thing, right? We go back to the Combate. Look no further than this. Combate, right, touts the fucking victory of the trans fighter, right? The male to female trans fighter that might beat an 0-1 that hadn't fought in 7 years, right? From France that has jet lag, right? They fight in Miami, which is different than fucking France. You can't replicate that if you're in France. And France has just legalized over the pandemic MMA, right? So this is essentially a Muay Thai person, right? Coming in, and they were 0-1 in Muay Thai 7 years ago, right? And when that fight happened and the trans female won, right? And I'm sorry, I forget her name, but they were just like, woo, huzzah, look at our equality, woo, look at us, right? The very next night, on Saturday, they were hobnobbing with fucking Michael Chandler, Trump, and Tito Ortiz. AEW, once they're inclusive, by Brandy Rhodes, inclusive heels, right, for all women, to come and watch wrestling and love wrestling together. But you put it behind a paywall, right? You don't have to look far to look who donated to Trump. And it's every major promotion. The head, the Vince McMahon, Linda's was in the fucking cabinet, right? The first 2 years of President Trump's presidency. And yes, I'm going to call him President Trump because that's what he was. Just like Obama, just like the 43 other motherfuckers that were in there. Just like this one here now. Didn't vote for any of them, to be honest with you. But they are the presidents or former presidents. So you can't just take it away, right? You just can't take the fucking thing away just because they did some dumb shit. Because everybody did some dumb shit. JFK... got his fucking brains rolled out because he wanted to actually change shit. But also, he basically had Marilyn Monroe fucking murdered. So,
Allegedly.
Yes, and Queen had nothing to do with Princess Diana's death.
Allegedly.
Right on. I guess the Orange Cassidy for me, right? Amanda Nunes versus Jose Aldo at 135. Tough cut for both at Amanda and Jose Aldo, but I guarantee Jose will be heavier on fight night. Put out a clinic. Okay, but also Alex, here's the deal though.
It does.
Here's the thing.
It does.
Okay, Amanda Nunes is arguably the greatest woman in terms of combat sports to ever walk the face of the earth. The fucking WME Endeavor, or Endeavor as it's on the stock market, literally is a mile and a half away from West Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
right? In Century City. Why is there not Amanda Nunes fucking posters all up and down? They're only a mile and a half away. That's what I'm talking about, equality. There is an equality. The people within the company were betting on her to fail when Ronda, because she was
More
Anglo,
marketable.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. Things aren't equal. Anybody that thinks like Adam Woods, thankfully, I have my name given to me by my dad, who's American, right? But that was probably a fucking slave name, honestly. We probably sent a bunch of us into the fucking woods. Everybody wants to talk about forefathers. The forefathers of this country probably sent the forefathers of me into the fucking woods and didn't give a shit what happened,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But Adam Woods sounds pretty fucking Anglo versus Adam Wanganisanini, which is my mom's given name.
Mm-hmm.
So I lucked out. I fucking lucked out, man. You know, so, and also, my mom passed away as an illegal because there's no fucking clear pathway. She worked for the city of Inglewood in the mayor's office. The mayor wrote her accommodation letter and sent it right to the fucking Wilshire office. Denied.
Mm.
I'm a son of an immigrant. I might not sound like one, but I am. And that was my mom who spoke English the way the people in England speak. So I can only imagine if you're from Algeria, Afghanistan, Mexico, Nicaragua, Argentina, wherever. But Argentinians have it a little bit better because they've got lighter skin,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Peru, Haiti, Ecuador, right? Anywhere, Cuba, right? Everywhere else. You know? Hell, the natives didn't even have it good. You remember the Boston Tea Party? A bunch of Anglo folk, right? Dressed in red, right? Through one of the most ecological disasters in the fucking U.S. history. There's fish that are not there because of the Tea Party. But again, they did that as a heroic effort because they were scared that both the natives and the British were going to take their shit back. So we're like, we're going to fucking destroy that shit. But it's also those same people, right, whose, kin, generations removed, are going like, oh, those lazy people, oh, just sitting on their ass, right? But are also quitting their jobs because of the vaccine. Which I don't care one way or another. Get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine. Quit your job, don't whatever. But again, for the, the people with abortions, right? Oh, give us your baby, right? Even though the damn baby's brain dead. That's actually what happened to us right before Owen, right? Our child was stillborn, right? Or I mean, it didn't take. I don't know the
Right.
we didn't make it,
Technical term.
right? We had to go to fucking Planned Parenthood, and the shit that they were saying, those Christian people that were saying to me and my wife, vile fucking things that you would have thought they were the fucking devil themselves. But where is that when that kid that you want to take, right, needs a college education, doesn't need books from 1973, which is what I had when I graduated from in Inglewood in 2003. So that's it. To say that everybody is equal, right, and on an even playing field, it's not. When I got to Inglewood, I knew people that hadn't been off of the fucking block. Like I was like, oh, we're going to Santa Monica. They were like, we know what Santa Monica is or whatever.
I've
but
seen
we've
it on
never
TV.
Yes, absolutely. They live fucking 15 minutes away. So that's the thing. It's just, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I talk about fight stuff and everything like that. I'm talking about this because it relates to fighting. But I want everybody. I want transgenders. I want a weight class every fucking 10 divisions. I don't want the UFC just to be limited to 4 fucking, divisions. I want Invicta to be as big as the UFC and every other fucking promotion, which they have a chance of doing because now they're with Anthem Sports, right? who also owns Impact Wrestling, right? So I want everybody to do it. But then also, let's say the fighter pay gets fucking there where we need it to be, right? The Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury levels, the Tyson in his prime levels and everything. And they're like, we don't need this shit. Cool. You remember that Hugh Jackman movie, Real Steel? Fuck it. That's our MMA. We get two robots and we fucking clash them together. We don't have to worry about them getting head trauma. We don't have to worry about them beating their wives, beating their spouses. No CTE, no whatever. All
no
we gotta
doctors,
do is no doctors,
surgery.
no fucking. When somebody gets coked out and fucking drunk and drives into people, like none of that shit.
No cancel culture.
No canceled fights.
Yeah, no cancel fights.
You swear to God that we can have self-driving cars, but we're not gonna have fucking robot fighting? Give it 20 years. If it's not, then it's fucking augmented reality. Gonna be on the fucking VR headsets, so it's not gonna be the same. So that's what I say. It's just like everybody, everywhere, everybody, whatever. But like, stay in your lane theoretically. LGBTQ, you support a whole, like, really start watching MMA, right? All of MMA, not just when a trans fighter is fighting, because that's just like the upstate New York official, right? When they wanted UFC to be there, he's an openly gay politician, right? And he's like, we don't want the UFC here. Those men with their shirts off rolling around. This is actual fucking testimony that he says, what have you. He shits on his own fucking community, assuming that he identifies with that community, right? And then to find out that, yes, he's backed by one of the fucking unions, the hotel unions, that don't like the Fertitta brothers because they're the largest non-union hotel chain in the world, right? And again, once the Fertitta sold off, look how, man, the fucking New York State, they fucking took their fucking trousers off and raw dogged it. They're like, yeah, open wide. We're gonna open wide for you, UFC. Combate even got there first. That was the first fucking since that Rogan where he was, they scheduled it from upstate New York to Dothan, Alabama. That one, 93, 94? That was the first fucking MMA fight card in upstate New York for Combate America, and that happened only about 3 or 4 years ago, right? And Alex says, before I go, one question. Prediction. Fedor versus Unknown. Is it a fix in Russia? You bet your fucking ass it is.
Anything in Russia has potential to be a fix.
But especially Fedor. Fedor is, that's his last fucking fight on his Bellator contract. He rides off into the sunset with, fucking the Kremlin and all those motherfuckers there. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be I don't think it's going to be fixed. Are they going to, is it top tier competition that they got for fucking Fedor? Skeptical.
Emelianenko.
Yeah, Emelianenko. So yeah, man, and it's really Fedor, right? So I think that's it, man. Yeah,
we'll talk
man.
soon.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's it. We talked about a litany of fucking things. So yeah, Voodoo, where can they find you, good sir, on social media?
On social media, you can find Voodoo Maximus on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, and Twitter, and Snapchat.
Yeah, there we go, man. So you can find me in all those places at According to Woods. The Principal Podcast is on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Under that, definitely subscribe because even my nepotism or lack of nepotism and my imposter syndrome also wants me to do well. So that's fucking mental shit is not fun. So that's it. But you can find me there when I'm not fucking podcasting. It's fucking memes. People getting dumped on their head. So put to music I feel is right. So Yeah, man. But also subscribe to Voodoo in the Woods podcast. That is on YouTube and Facebook. Hashtag Voodoo in the Woods on all the social media, and you'll find us. Yeah, but we will be back sometime this week with more
Thursday.
Voodoo in the Woods.